Hello and welcome to the Sports Wall. I'm Donnie. I'm joined with Andrew, and we're going to kind of look back at the Packers draft, kind of grade them out, a little bit of a Super Bowl preview, so some bets that we like, and then maybe if we have some time, we'll talk about some of our favorite Super Bowl commercials and stuff like that. Andy, how you doing tonight so far?
I'm doing all right. Been a busy day. Glad to be able to sit back and relax a little bit finally.
A little decompression time.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. Let's jump off. We'll start with the first round pick, Lucas Van Ness.
Sure. So the way we're sort of going to do this, these are completely subjective grades, but we are going to sort of grade them in relation to their draft position. So, the first round pick isn't going to be graded on quite the same scale as a undrafted free agent. We'll start with Lucas Van Ness. I will say overall, I feel pretty good about Van Ness, especially I really think he has the potential to be an impact player in a 4-3 style defense as a 4-3 end. I think he'll really be able to get after the quarterback in that type of role. Obviously, this year, he got on the field and he made some plays. I thought overall he looked pretty good. Obviously, he was picked, 11? Or no, it wasn't that high.
Yeah, top 15 at least.
Yeah. You'd like a little more immediate production
13.
out of him.
13.
You'd like a little bit more immediate production out of him, but also at the same time, right? You don't draft a guy for how he's going to perform his rookie year. You draft him for how he's going to perform for 10 years. And so as far as that goes, I think his future is pretty bright. I really like the potential that he's got. But like I said, compared to what somebody else who maybe could have produced immediately, I would probably give him a B grade. I don't think I would give him an A. I give him a B because I think he was impactful. He was among the best players on their team defensively when it came to and this isn't saying much, but where did it go? I lost the stat I was looking for. But overall, I thought he held up well. He was a pretty good tackler. He didn't miss a lot of tackles. Got to hold up a little better against the run, but he is definitely a pass rusher, and I give him a B.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add to it. I guess I'd say he was more like average, so like a C for me. But at the same time, like you said, the way the Packers tend to draft is they don't draft for need; they draft best player available, and we happen to have two guys ahead of him, so he wasn't obviously going to see the field a whole heck of a lot. So for me, it's more of, obviously we didn't see he had four sacks. So for a rookie, you can't really shy away. He had some big time sacks and stuff like that at times, but for drafting in a position, we had some studs. Well, shouldn't say studs, but we had
some good players
ahead of them. We had two guys ahead of him. You're not going to see the field that much. Yep. So, I think the ESPN redid the draft. They redrafted after the season, and they had us taking Sam Laporta at 13 and then Lucas Van Ness with our second round pick. So, what that is, what they
like I said, though, that's based on what he did this year.
Yeah, exactly. And where our strength was kind of on the edge at the time. There's obviously places for more need.
5 years from now, maybe 2 years from now, we'll have a much better feel on exactly what Van Ness can be. But I like Van Ness. I think he's going to be a good player.
Yeah. So, all right.
Next, you can go. Next 43rd overall was Musgrave.
I would probably put him probably around the C to D because he was hurt.
He got hurt, yeah.
For most of the year, you can't really
freak injury, not his fault at all.
Yeah, and he played through it.
Yeah,
shouldn't have, but he played through it. And I think our other tight end performed better when he was in Luke Musgrave's role. but I mean, who knows? He was hurt.
We'll get to Kraft. I wouldn't necessarily say he performed better. I think they were pretty similar in what they were capable of, and I think both of them on the field could be really powerful offensively for what that could provide, the variety that it could provide to the offense. I give him a C, and again, its availability is among the most important things in football. He got hurt; it was unfortunate, but again, he's another guy. You can see the physical skills. Man, he could be a major weapon. He is a threat down the field. You saw that. I mean, his first touchdown. I mean, I could see the play where they did. I think it was like a double fake bubble screen and then hit Musgrave up the middle. You can just see the athletic ability, and as big and strong as he is, he's going to have the opportunity to really turn into a great player. But like you said, I gave him a C. A little bit of inconsistency, especially blocking, but that'll come with time, I hope. And overall, though, there's going to be a lot of superlatives, I think, in this draft class because Gutekunst did a good job.
Yeah.
And Musgrave is, I'm excited about him, but for year one, it's a C.
And we can go right into it. Tucker Kraft was the third round pick.
I thought he was fourth. Was he third?
No, he was the third round pick. Okay. Pretty sure he was the third. Or did we have 2 third-round picks? We might have had 2 third-round picks.
You're right. He was third. He was 79 overall. But we had 2 second-round picks. We're skipping Jaden Reed right now.
Yeah. What was Reed? Was Reed in the second round too?
Yeah. Reed was 51.
Okay.
So go ahead and talk about Reed.
I'd have to give him B+, A- because the early in the year he wasn't much in the offense, but again was the offense because our wide receivers, our skill position was so young, and our offense looked like crap until they started clicking there, and he was probably our most consistent weapon we had on the outside. So I'd have to say like B+, A-.
I agree with the grade. I mean, he just showed himself to be extremely dynamic. I mean, watching him, he's not quite as fast, but he reminded me of Steve Smith. The way he played the game, the way he ran with the ball. He's not as fast as Smith, but then, I mean, he's also, he gets the ball out of the backfield around the edge and things like that. He can do a ton of things. He's tough over the middle. He's a real good slot guy.
He's kind of our Debo Samuel of the 49ers, but not
poor man's Debo at this point. What could he turn into? He's not as big as Debo, not as strong as Debo probably, but he's just so versatile. He can do everything, and he's going to be another great weapon for LaFleur moving forward. When we talk about that variety offensively, he's going to be another guy that just adds to that, and that's really exciting. So I agree with the grade.
Yeah, I mean, 64 receptions on 94 targets, 793 yards, 12.4 yard average, 8 touchdowns. I mean, even what did he have rushing here? 11 for 119 and 2 touchdowns rushing. So he had 10 touchdowns in a rookie year. That's for a Packer wide receiver. I mean, granted, it was Aaron Rodgers always, and he never had trust in rookie wide receivers. So you can't really base off that, but that's a pretty damn good rookie year for a Packer wide receiver, a rookie year.
I completely agree. Yeah. Jane Reed, I'm excited about these offensive skill players all the way around.
Tucker Kraft.
Go ahead.
I'd probably have to put him in the same boat as Musgrave, maybe a little bit higher than Musgrave just because he was more available, maybe like a C+. Tight end, I think tight end's like one of the hardest positions to transition to from college to
That's
NFL.
What they say, yeah.
So, I can't remember was Kraft the one he was more raw but had more upside than Musgrave coming out of the draft? Was that the talk?
I mean, I think they were both raw, but the talk on Musgrave was he was very raw with absolutely.
Okay, so it was the other way around.
Ceiling because of his
the other way around. Okay.
Physical skills. Yeah,
I thought there was one where it was they were more raw but had more upside than the other one. I couldn't remember which one was which. So, I
mean, I think Kraft, he surprised me with how athletic he showed himself to be late in the year. He got off to a slow slow start. It sounded
But he
like
he was also behind Musgrave and
yes, but it sounded like talking or listening to LaFleur, like he really did have some struggles. I don't know if it was with the playbook or just learning how to blocking in particular. And I'm looking at his blocking grades. Pass blocking grades decent, but his run blocking grades not very good. And so I think it took him some time to adjust. But when he did, man, you started to see how athletic he is and how much of a weapon he could be. I think he needs to stop fucking trying to hurdle people, pardon the French, because he's gonna get himself.
Well, you just
hurt.
hate that when anybody does it.
I do. I just think it's dangerous and not worth the risk, especially for the Packers. That's the last thing you want to see is some guy get put in a crazy position where they get flipped and come down on their neck because they try to jump over somebody, and that's a legitimate danger with that. I don't like that, but that's neither here nor there. I give Kraft a little higher grade than Musgrave, so I will give him I'll give him a B just because he was available a little bit more, and I think by the end of the year, I think their numbers were very, very similar. Okay. But he was drafted a little bit lower, and he was available the entire year.
Yeah. All right. What was the next one?
Colby Wooden.
Who?
Colby Wooden.
Colby Wooden, huh?
Yep.
I don't even see.
Defensive. He's an interior defensive lineman.
Okay. Yeah, I don't got much on him.
Clearly. He didn't. What's that?
He got half a sack.
Yeah, he was not anything. I mean, he didn't jump off the page at you.
The way our run defense was.
He's a smaller guy, right?
Incomplete, maybe.
Well, he had enough snaps. Let me see how many snaps he had on the year. 298 defensive line snaps. I mean, that's enough to have an impact. The numbers, his snaps sort of dwindled a little bit.
What was his grade on PFF?
His overall grade was 57.6, run defense 51, pass rush 61. Overall, he's got to get stronger up front, especially if he's going to be an interior guy in a 4-3. But there should be some more freedom so he could use more of that pass rush stuff. But overall, I can't give him more than 4th round. I mean, C-. I assume you don't have much to add?
Nope.
All right, fair enough. Next up, then, I think, is Dontavian Wicks. Was he?
He was a 5th round.
Actually, Clifford was drafted before him. Clifford's going to be incomplete.
Yeah, incomplete.
So Dontavian Wicks, 5th round, 161. He is. I'll let you go ahead. I'm sure we're probably going to echo each other here.
Yeah, I'm going to probably put him on the A range. I mean, he had a hell of a season. I mean, again, one of those guys that came on towards the end, but so did the whole entire offense. So once they started figuring shit out, things started clicking a little bit. And I mean, our top 3 wide receivers, stats wise, were rookies, or two of our top 3 were rookies. So, I mean, he had 39 receptions on 58 targets, 581 yards, 4 touchdowns. He exceeded expectations for a 5th round pick. So
far and away exceeded expectations. I mean, watching him play, I think of that receiving class. I think he's got a higher ceiling than Jaden Reed does. I think both of them are really good route runners. I don't know what it is about Wicks, but when I watch him play, he just excites me. Like he's
got a little Devontae Adams in him.
I just think he's going to be a great player. I think he could become their true type of number 1. Maybe he's not fast enough, but I mean, you've heard my thoughts on Watson. I think he's a weapon, but I struggle to see him as a true number 1. I see Wicks with some of the tools to be that true number 1. He's probably got to get a little bit quicker. Hopefully he can add a little bit more speed, but man, what a job Dontavian Wicks did in year one. He's a clear A for me.
There was a mashup of his releases on Twitter, a video of his releases, and they just like spitting image of Devontae Adams releases off the line. So, and that was one of Devontae Adams' beneficial. His what made him great was his release off the line.
He was unreal. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Carl Brooks.
I love Carl Brooks. This is another one. I think he could be really. I think he could be a impact player in a 4-3. Mm-hmm. He's got to get stronger against the run, no doubt about that. But for a 6th round pick to show the pass rush chops that he did all year, I also wanted to give him an A, but I don't quite. He didn't wow me as much as Wicks did in relation to his draft spot, so I'll give him a B+. But he's another one, man. He's a great pass rusher. Looking at his PFF grade right now, 46.8 run defense. That needs to get cleaned up. Yeah. But 70 overall pass rush grade, 440 total snaps. I mean, it's a pretty good sample size in year one. I'm a big fan of Carl Brooks, and I think, and he might not be able to be a full-time player ever, but that's a great guy to bring in, pass rush down with four defensive linemen, put him on the interior and let him rush.
The old NASCAR package.
I mean, exactly. The Packers got a lot of guys that they could do that with. When you think about him, Kenny Clark, Preston Smith, Gary, Vanessa. I mean, they have a lot of pass rushers, which is why they struggle to stop the run. But in those third down situations, they should be able to be pretty dynamic defensively.
Between him and Van Ness, who graded higher on PFF?
Brooks.
Brooks did?
Yeah, same, almost identical amount of snaps.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, I
don't want to make PFF sound like the be all.
No,
but it's just cool, right?
I mean, if you flip flop these two, you'd be like Lucas Van Ness. What a steal in the 6th round, and you'd be saying the same thing you said about Van Ness if he was taken in the 1st round, or Brooks if he was taken in the 1st round. You'd be kind of saying like, hey, we expect more maybe, but I think where he was drafted in the 5th round, I think he gets a higher grade than Van Ness just because where he was drafted.
Oh, for sure. I definitely agree with that. That's why I gave him the B+.
Yeah. So I'm in that same ballpark of B+ too. All right. Now this one should be interesting. Ready? Anders Carlson.
Yeah, I mean, people are gonna hate on him. He's got to clean up the extra points. He had issues with kicks beyond 40, really. I mean, overall, I would probably give him a C. You can see why they like him. But he's got to be more consistent with the extra points in particular. Obviously, you never want a kicker to miss a kick. But overall, what was his field goal percentage? I don't remember what it was, but it was in the 80s. And overall, a field goal percentage in the 80s that's reasonable. You can live with that. Mm-hmm. It's the inconsistency. And in particular, he lost confidence at the end of the year. And you could tell because he had his first half of the year. I don't know if he missed any field goals. But later in the year, it felt like every game he was missing a big one. And some of them really did come back to hurt Green Bay. So I don't think he's anywhere near as bad as we hear a lot of people talking about. So I'll give him a C.
I know I'm in that same ballpark as you are, and I think he's got a chance to obviously be much better than that. But the whole talk coming out of minicamp or the preseason and stuff like that was he just misses everything to the left, or he missed. The local radio was all over him, being like, "This isn't the guy. This isn't the guy. This isn't the guy." And then when was the first time he missed a field goal? I couldn't even. Like he went on a pretty good streak without missing a field goal,
I mean, he was 27 for 33 on the year from field goals.
Mm-hmm.
29 for 36 if you include include the playoffs. That's
Yep.
I mean, you can't. That's hard to complain about. It's just when he missed those 6 field goals, it always felt like it mattered.
Yeah.
The problem looking at it is he was perfect, 6 of 6, less than 30. Between
Yep.
30 to 39, he was 14 for 14. But 40 to 49, 4 for 8. 50 plus 3 for 5. 3 for 5
Yeah.
is fine. 50 plus, but 40 to 49, you probably want to be 75% or higher.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely something to work on, but we'll see. Carrington Valentine.
He's an interesting one. You could see in preseason that he had the physical skills and he's got the attitude, no doubt about that, to
Yeah.
just line up and getting your grill. I mean, you could see he is not shy about running his mouth out there. But as a 7th-round pick, when you think about coming into the year, we were expecting to see Jair Alexander, Rasul Douglas, Eric Stokes, and Keyshawn Nixon in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a number of games where he essentially lined up as our number 1 corner. And overall, I think he held his own.
Mm-hmm.
I think, especially as a 7th-round pick, he gets no lower than a B for me, probably a B plus, just because he really did come through and play pretty well. He absolutely made some rookie mistakes. He got a little overzealous a couple of times, but he really stepped up and really helped sort of solidify that back end to a point when they were running without their top 3 guys that they expected to have on the back end this year.
Yep. Yeah, you pretty much said everything I was going to say. So, but yeah, he performed mightily, especially when called upon. Not too often you have to rely on a 7th-round draft pick to be a starting cornerback, and he performed admirably.
Yep.
So, Lewis Nichols, he didn't really incomplete. I don't think he got. I don't even think did he get elevated at all? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Are you looking at the agenda list?
No. No, I was just kind of going down the draft that they had.
Okay, well, the next one I think should be
Anthony Johnson Jr.
Anthony Johnson Jr. And he's another one that he didn't play as well as Valentine. No doubt about it. You could see he wasn't quite ready. He took some time to adjust. I think he was like 244 or something like that. Picked. He struggled. He definitely struggled a little bit. He got some starts, but he was good enough that it wasn't just a complete disaster on the back end when he had to be in there. So for that, I'll give him a C minus. He wasn't great, but he was not a complete, sib on the back end either.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I noticed him too much, which can't be a bad thing. So if your name's getting talked about all over the broadcast, it's usually, especially on defense, it's usually probably not a good thing.
So, 236 passing snaps, so 200 or 334 snaps total. So, moderate sample size. He's definitely going to have to clean some things up for sure. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for a 7th-round pick to come into a situation when I don't think anybody would have been expecting, our secondary to look like Corey Valentine, Carrington Valentine, and Anthony Johnson.
Yeah.
As your 3 of the 4 guys on the back end. I mean, that's a tough situation.
Yeah.
And he didn't perform great, but he wasn't. I mean, he didn't cost. I don't think he necessarily cost Packers any games. Let me put it that way. At least not by himself.
Yep. Emmanuel Wilson.
I like Wilson. Wilson had a great preseason. Didn't get a ton of run.
Some good speed.
I like the way he runs.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. He hits the hole. He's not quite as fast the hole as Aaron Jones, but he doesn't dance behind the line of scrimmage like what upsets me about AJ Dillon. He puts his shoulder down. He seems like a one cut guy,
Yep.
and just goes. And so I like that. Not like I said, not a ton of snaps, 56 total. But in those opportunities, I think you could see that he will have a future in the league. Maybe not a 15-year career, but I think he will have a future here. And as an undrafted guy, I mean, it's hard not to give him an incomplete, just because 56 snaps is not
he didn't play that much
enough. So that's kind of I would lay on that.
Yeah. Malik Keith.
Keith, I expected more from, to be honest. And I don't have just what we saw in preseason compared to sort of by the end of the year, Bo Melton came in and looked great, whereas Heath struggled a little bit. But as a undrafted free agent, I mean, probably a C. He got on the field for 260 snaps, made a couple of plays. I believe he had a number of third down catches that I can remember. But never going to be a game breaker. He's going to probably have a hard time making the roster next year.
Yeah.
So C.
Maybe you never know. We'll see what we get, but like you got Samari Toure. Do you think he's on the roster next year? And so there are some guys where he could take. I think he might be able to carve himself a spot and stuff like that, but you never know.
I mean, I just think Bo Melton's already passed him. I assume they're going to bring new guys in. They always do, right?
Yeah.
Drafted here or there. And that's what I mean. I mean, I'm not saying he can't make the roster. I'm just saying he's going to have to really battle for it.
Is that it?
I think so.
All right. Overall, what would you say?
The overall draft class?
Yeah.
I mean, looking forward, I give it an A. I think it's far and away Gutekunst's best draft class. Yeah. So far, ton of potential looking forward. I mean, and we saw how much those guys grew just from week 1 through week 17, how big of an impact they all had. So far and away his best draft class. I will give Gutekunst an A overall, and I think like any Packer fan, we're excited about the future.
What would you grade Goody in his 5 drafts so far, or 6 drafts so far?
It's a tough one.
Because he's got two
good ones, a couple bad ones.
A couple very bad ones.
Yeah, I mean, draft, it's a crystal ball business, right? You never know what you're going to get. Number 1 picks flame out. Mr. Irrelevant winds up starting the Super Bowl. So you never know what you're going to get there. The last 2 drafts look promising. I mean, I know how much everybody hated the Love pick, but I give him credit for at least truly doing what he thought is best for the long term of the franchise. So as far as just drafting, these last 2 classes raise the grade. I will say C+, B-, C+. I'm going to land on, because you're right. 21 and 20, I believe.
20, 21, and 2019 is a decent draft. 2018, I can go through it. Jair, Josh, Oren Burks, Jamon Moore, Cole Madison, J.K. Scott, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Equanimous, James Clooney, Hunter Bradley, Kendall Donnerson. That's 2018.
Yeah, I mean, you would like to have at least one more guy get a second contract there.
Yes. 2019, Rashawn Gary, Darnell Savage, Elton Jenkins, Jay Sternberger, Kingsley Kiki, Kadar Holman, Dexter Williams, Ty Summers. First 3 picks were pretty good.
Strong at the top, yeah.
Yes.
Nothing in the back, nothing in the later rounds.
Yeah, so
he did. I mean, Love
Rashawn Gary and Elton Jenkins, pretty damn good.
Exactly. Yeah.
2020, Jordan Love, AJ Dillon,
Love, yeah,
Josiah
Love
Deguara,
has raised that draft
Jamal
class a
Martin,
grade by
John
himself.
Runyon,
But
Jake Hansen, Simon Stepan. I don't even know.
Stepaniak, I believe.
Yep. Vernon Scott, Jonathan Garvin. That's an
Yeah.
F. That's as of last year. That's an F. The
I
only way that
don't think it's an F, but it's not great. I mean,
the only thing that can save Love is if he becomes that draft is if he becomes a Hall of Famer.
He doesn't have to become a Hall of Famer. He's going to win a Super Bowl, though.
Otherwise, there is not a single player on that roster next year from that draft other than Jordan Love.
Runyon might get brought back.
Maybe.
I don't think he will, but I think it's possible.
Then 2021, Eric Stokes, Josh Meyer, Amari Rogers, Royce Newman, TJ Slayton, Samari Jean Charles, Colvin Lannon, Isaiah McDuffie, Kylan Hill. That's not the greatest draft.
But I mean, they're in their second year, right? So, I mean,
Third year.
McDuffie definitely took some steps up.
Yep.
This year. He looks like he could have, he'll be on the field more next year. Newman, I can't believe he's still on the roster.
Right.
That was a miss. That's safe to say that was
TJ Slayton's serviceable. I don't mind TJ Slayton.
Yeah, he's a big body in there.
And then last year's draft.
I believe Slayton might have been the best guy against the run. Or is his
even
name
better than Clark?
No, he's right there. Well, Clark wasn't great against the run. I misread it earlier. 60. Clark is 61. So I mean, all those interior guys are, pass rushers.
And I would assume Clark probably had the most snaps on the defensive line.
913, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, he's been up and down, but like you said, the draft is
it's a crapshoot.
Yeah. So, all right, you got anything else you want to add to the grading?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I mean,
talk a little bit of Super Bowl.
Like all of those draft picks have a chance to, play in the league. Like they did a really good job.
Yeah, unless something drastically happens, you expect them to take that next step next year.
So. Yep.
So
sure hope so.
Yeah. You want to talk a little Super Bowl?
Sure. What are your thoughts?
I'm actually kind of surprised that the line hadn't changed more.
Me too.
Okay. My brother just showed me Will Anderson won the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm kind of surprised that the Chiefs are still the underdog.
I mean, the 49ers have a better overall roster. Like, there's no doubt in my mind about that.
But I think they have the clear advantage at coach and quarterback.
I mean, it's hard to say clear advantage at coach. Like, because I don't know what you're going to get with Shanahan.
You also got to take into effect Spagnuolo.
Yeah, but Shanahan can scheme around that.
Spagnuolo's got 5 Super Bowls, and he shut down Tom Brady a couple times.
True, but one stat that I saw that really caught my eye, and this I think could be really, really important, is the 49ers are the number 1 ranked rushing offense utilizing the zone run. The Chiefs are something like the 28th ranked run defense against a zone run. And zone run is a complete staple of Shanahan's offense. So they absolutely are going to have the opportunity to, really control the game on the ground if they can take advantage of that. That being said, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, I'm not betting on Brock Purdy.
Exactly. And everybody keeps saying Brock Purdy's not a bad quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback, but
no, I don't think he's
in the Packer game, and you and I watched every snap of that game.
He was bad for most of that game, but he got it done when it mattered.
Yes. So I mean, I'm I mean, that can lead right into some of our
Well,
bets here.
what it comes down to is if Brock Purdy needs to win that game, I don't think he can. Whereas if Patrick Mahomes needs to win that game, I have no doubt that he can.
In all of Patrick Mahomes' career, this is his best defenses that he's had.
For sure. No doubt about that.
So,
but it's he's probably also got the fewest amount of weapons on the outside too.
Yeah, very much so. Yep. So that we can kind of go right into it, unless you got anything more you want to add. Like I got some bets that I like. I'm sure you got some stuff.
I haven't actually been looking into my props yet for.
Okay. I like Kansas City money line plus 110. You're going to give me Patrick Mahomes at a plus price. You gotta take it.
I would agree that's where my money would be.
Yeah. I like Kadarius Toney anytime touchdown plus 950.
Plus 950.
You know, somebody obscure is going to score a touchdown, and Andy Reid would love nothing more than he scored in the last Super Bowl.
I know. It would. I mean, what would make sense to me would be, Toney scores 3 touchdowns or something like that. Like just out of nowhere, this guy has just been shit on all year. Scores 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
Or like a Kyle Juszczyk scores a touchdown.
That
was like plus 900, plus 1,000, somewhere around there too.
The way they use him, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
No. Deebo Samuel anytime touchdown plus 140.
I like that.
This was one I had found, or I shouldn't say found. I had heard from somebody else. George Kittle longest reception over 20.5 minus 115.
Over 20.5.
He has hit that in 10 of his and he's 10-2 in his last 12 games, and he's hit that in 16 of 6 games or something like that. He's hit that number.
But what were the odds again?
Minus 115.
Minus 115. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that I would take that one.
That's a parlay piece. I like Pacheco over 67.5 rushing yards.
I do too.
The Packers and the Lions were able to run all over, and I think they're susceptible on the outside. I think you run at Chase Young. I like Deebo Samuel over 16.5. I think this could be a Deebo game, because I think obviously Spagnuolo is going to be focused on shutting down McCaffrey as much as you can.
You have to.
You got to get Deebo the ball. And I think as you saw in the Packer game,
with those linebackers running vertical or running horizontal.
Well, even as you saw in the Packer game, the offense kind of stalled when Deebo went out.
Oh, it definitely did. But I think that had more to do with Shanahan than it did with the offense.
Juwan Jennings
to adjust for a long time.
Juwan Jennings over 14.5 receiving minus 105.
Yeah, that one's not terrible.
Second quarter,
maybe 2 catches.
Second quarter over 14.5 points plus 106.
Second quarter. Why the second quarter?
I just think it might come out slow, and then you're going to see a little bit of an explosion maybe in the second quarter or something like that.
How many points? 14.5, you
14.5.
Yeah.
And then I like actually the second half total under 23.5 minus 110. I think I saw something like it's 6-2 in the Chiefs like last 8 games or something like that. The total. Look at the Baltimore game. I don't think they scored in the second half.
They didn't, but they could have. Well, they might have kicked. Did they kick a field goal late?
I think it was like 17-10 was the final.
Yeah, you're right. That game was a little different though.
Yeah,
Baltimore just didn't threaten them at all. But they still failed to do anything.
But you also got to remember, and it could go both ways. Things tighten up a little bit, or you end up making a little bit more mental mistakes, and then things open up more. So it could go really either way. But I these two teams experience. I think things would tighten up. I think you could see a.
I mean, yeah, I could also see Mahomes go over that by himself.
Well, for sure. You could say that with anything, though.
Yeah, especially Mahomes.
Yeah. So that's what I kind of found and saw so far. That's what I kind of liked.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll put a couple on the Twitter account.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I don't have any.
I don't have a strong play on the over or a strong lean on the side on the total 47.5.
I mean, my first initial thoughts there would be under. I mean, it's two good defenses.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be my first thought, but
And if you like Christian McCaffrey to score a touchdown, I think you got to take him either first half or second half because he's at least plus money.
yeah, I think it was 230 minus 230.
Minus 230 for any time. But if you take him in the first half, I think it was plus 115. And if you take him just in the second half, it's plus 130.
Yeah.
So, I think there was one. Their passing yards. I don't know if we can bet it in Virginia or not, but there was one. Total number of no. What was it? Total number. Yeah, there it is. Oh, never mind. What was it? It was like total number of people to throw past 2.5. I kind of don't mind the over if you could bet it. Somebody's gonna throw a trick play or something like that. So
if it's, I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't be available here. The only thing we can't bet on is games involving MVP. Virginia teams.
That and MVP.
I don't know why we can't.
That's a weird one.
Yeah,
but like I said, that was another interesting one. I don't know what the price on that would be at all, so I can't seem to find it right now. But if you could find it, that'd be something interesting to bet on. If you know Deebo Samuel pass or a Christian McCaffrey pass, or
I mean, my guess would be it's probably like 110 minus 110. I mean that.
You think? Do you think it'd be even money?
50-50 that some third person throws a pass in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, injury even maybe.
I think that's also possible, but let's hope not.
Yeah. I mean, look at the NFC Championship game last year. I think there was like four people to record a pass.
Yeah, I mean, especially when somebody feels like they need to make a play, right?
Yeah.
Break something out.
There was another one I didn't mind was taking Kelsey over 72.5 receiving yards, but then also parlaying that with his under catches 6.5.
I don't know about the over. I mean, I know they're going to look to him. He's their main threat.
Yeah.
I just think, I mean, but you know how I feel about Fred Warner.
Yeah. But if you parlay, so you take his under receptions, under 6.5, so we hold him to 5 receptions, but over 72.5, it's you parlay it, it's plus 1160.
I mean, you're looking at 14.5 roughly yards per reception there. Maybe, yeah.
I mean, that's really the only weapon beside Rice, that's the only weapon to really be concerned about. And you got Fred Warner to.
You just told me I needed to be concerned about Kadarius Toney catching 3 touchdowns.
No, that was you saying 3 touchdowns. I said 1. You were the one that said 3. But anyway, you got anything else? I know you haven't really looked at the bets at all yet, or anything.
Yeah, I haven't been on that, so no, I don't have anything to add there.
All right. Let's finish up with favorite Super Bowl commercial, if you got one.
You're going to have to go first.
All right,
I didn't see that you had added that to the agenda, so I apologize.
I just thought it was something fun to add.
I did not do my homework.
I like any of the E-Trade Baby commercials. Those are always funny. The one that stuck out in my head when I was thinking about it was the Doritos time machine commercial.
Yeah,
where the little kid has the bag of Doritos and gives it to the guy, and then he comes out and there's an old guy standing next to the time machine. He's like, says his name. I thought that one was hilarious. The Budweiser frogs, the old school Budweiser frogs. I thought the Volkswagen, it was called Volkswagen the Force, was hilarious. It had the little kid dressed up as Darth Vader, and he was trying to control everything in the house. And then all of a sudden his dad comes into the driveway and comes into the house, and the little kid runs out in his Darth Vader outfit and tries to like make the car do something. And then all of a sudden his dad just pushes the key button and it goes beep. And he gets all shocked and looks back and stuff like that. I thought that one was hilarious. And then a classic.
That one I don't remember.
Jordan versus Bird for the McDonald's Big Mac.
Can't go wrong.
Playing pig.
Yeah, that one I remember. Mean Joe Green. I mean, obviously that was before our time, but not the catch, the Coca-Cola. Here, kid.
Yeah. Here, kid, catch.
Throws him his jersey. Yeah, that okay. Fair enough. Yep. But yeah, when you told me this, my first response was, I mean, it's got to be Danica Patrick and GoDaddy when I was like 14 years old.
Yep.
Betty White in the Snickers commercial, the initial Apple one. Yeah, some of them were pretty awesome.
Yep. I mean, anything with the Budweiser is always usually a good one. It's usually a heartfelt one.
The beer companies usually do a pretty good job.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, all right. Well, thanks for listening.
Before we go, you got anything you want to talk about? Brewers, Bucks, or Badgers?
I don't do the NBA, so I'm out on that one. The Brewers, they signed Gary Sanchez, $7 million.
You saw my thoughts on that in the I thought I thought it was a waste of money. I think you're paying $7 million for probably at best a platoon DH against left-handed pitchers and an occasional spell for Contreras behind the mound. A guy that if he plays 140 games probably gets you 30 home runs, but if he's going to be in an inconsistent lineup, hard to get into any type of groove like that, I think you're paying $7 million for a 215 at best hitter, and if you're lucky, 15 home runs.
Yeah,
I just don't think that's worth it.
Yeah, I mean he did grade out fairly well last year as a catcher, I think, defensively and stuff like that.
He graded out well compared to what he used to be like. Let me put it that way. I believe he was slightly above average last year, but historically he has been a below average catcher.
I mean, you can add him in as a piece to the trade because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to afford him for the Corbin Birds trade and stuff like that. So
I guess
I'm not overly impressed with it or anything like that. So
I'm not a fan. It sounds like they're still shopping Adames, so he may be gone in the next week or two.
I think with the trade, the Corbin Birds trade, I think he's definitely. I mean, at worst, we have some trade pieces at the deadline. If we are completely terrible or not going to make the playoffs, you can sell off Sanchez, you can sell off.
I don't think
you can sell off Adames if you keep him before the season and stuff like that. And
Hoskins was up to a 3-year deal, I think.
I think it was just 2 with an option, a mutual option next year.
I thought it was a mutual option next year and a player option year 3.
I thought it was only 2, but I could be wrong.
I could be wrong as well. I could be getting confused.
I also think that we trade some of our outfield depth.
Quite possibly.
I think we got to at least.
Yeah, Google looks like it is just a 2-year.
Yeah, I think it's a mutual option next year.
I believe that to be.
And they're not actually mutual, right? Like if the player decides to go, he's going.
They have to agree. Both have to agree that they want him to stay.
Okay. So
if either team says no,
I know the Bucks made two moves today. I don't know if you want to elaborate on them at all because I don't really follow the NBA much.
I mean, Beverly, I think, gives them at least a defensive presence a little bit in the backcourt.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to make up for Holiday because he's not going to make up for Drew Holiday at all because he's not going to be on the court, the same amount of time. But hopefully, it'll help improve what has become essentially an atrocious defense.
They've gotten better since Doc.
Yeah, but they're what 0-3 with him though.
1-4.
1-4, and they're getting smoked by Minnesota right now.
Are they?
I thought they were going to win. They're on 25 after 27 after 3.
Yeah, and then they traded Robin Lopez, who got waved right away. I don't know. Did you see the picture of him? He's sitting courtside at the Bucks game. He was sitting at the announce table reading a book.
Really? I did not see that.
He got traded to Sacramento, and then I believe they waived him right away. So
yeah, they did. I mean, the Bucks basically gave them cash so that the Bucks could regain
some money to
pay a little less in like the luxury tax type of thing. Yeah.
But I think they have the big rumor now is going around that I think they can sign up to like 12. Somebody that made 12 no more than 12 million in a buyout or something like that.
The NBA, I understand the NFL salary cap and how that works. I do not understand how the NBA's works at all. You get your hard cap and you get your soft cap, and then you get these mid-level exceptions and all this other crap. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how it works.
I will say it sounds like, because I was listening to Barstool the Yak when that trade went down, and Pat Bev does a podcast with Roan at Barstool, and Roan was on the Yak at the time. And he broke the news of the Pat Bev going to Milwaukee and stuff like that, and then they did an emergency podcast, and it sounds like Pat Bev's pretty excited about going to Milwaukee and stuff like that. So that's at least.
Well, I mean, he's gonna get a chance. Hopefully, he'll get a chance to play for a championship.
He played 20 minutes. He played 20 minutes a game average with the Sixers, so he played enough.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like what we'll see where he fits in, right? Like he's.
I mean, he always did. He always did that. He always did this when playing the Dame. So.
I mean, yeah,
he was a big Dame hater.
Well, we'll see how that works out. I mean, I hope it works out. I really, really do, because the Bucks should be better than their current record. Well, they should be better than they're playing the last 2 weeks.
Do you want to continue on disappointing team talk and talk about how piss poor the Badgers have been lately?
I mean, look, I think I said it a week or two ago on here. Like, the Badgers may have been ranked 6th in the country, but I never looked at them as a 6th ranked team in the country. I think they're probably around the 15th best team in the country. And the 15th best team in the country, I mean, they played well against Purdue. They just got beat by a team that, quite frankly, is better than them. They should have beat Michigan last night, but, they're not a top number. They're not a top 5 team, top 6 team in the country. You have off nights, and I mean, they lost by 5 or something like that yesterday.
Yeah, but it wasn't a pretty 5.
No, but I mean, I think they're still okay. I mean, Wisconsin basketball has for years just had an issue where they just tend to go for 7 minutes every game without a field goal. When they get cold, it's ugly to watch. Well, and it happens.
AJ Store's shot selection hasn't been greatest the last couple games, and
that's the type
turnovers
of thing
killing us. And
I mean, that's the type of thing that can be fixed, though. Turnovers can be slowed down. Shot selection can be fixed. But yeah, when he's seeing other guys struggling and stuff like that, you can tell he feels like he needs to get the Badgers back on the right track and try to take care of himself. Yeah, you froze up there for a minute, but you're back. It looks like you're back now. Maybe not. Looks like you have.
There we
frozen.
Go. I think we're back now.
No,
the wife put the internet in because our daughter just keeps like unplugging the internet.
Ah, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, you got anything else to add, Andy or Andrew?
Nope. No? Go Packers, Badgers, Brewers, and Bucks.
Yeah, and enjoy the Super Bowl. And we'll be back next week, probably previewing maybe a little free agency.
Yeah, we'll come up with something to talk about.
Yeah, or maybe we'll do a little Brewers season preview and stuff like that, because I think pitchers and catchers report very soon.
Up.
Yeah, I think pitchers and catchers report in the coming days, I think.
Googling it now.
I think it's very soon.
All it says is a few weeks. Pitchers and catchers for the Brewers report 1 week from today.
Okay. So next week, Thursday, maybe we'll do a little Brewers preview or something like that. So
We'll come up with something.
thanks for listening and watching. This has been the Sports Wall.